I changed a bit in my approach. I try to be less negative about myself when I practice and try to not kill myself.
Hello and welcome to the Wonder Cello podcast. Thank you for tuning in. I am here today with the exceptional cellist Benedikt Löckner. German television just recently named him a blessing for the musical world. There seems to be a place reserved for you in cello heaven already. Don't you think, Benedikt?
That's very flattering that you think that. I'm not sure if like all the wrong notes will taken into account when you come to cello heaven, and there will be said, I don't know, in Haydn D major you messed up this place or not, but I hope we will see each other there in cello heaven. We'll have some amazing time there.
Who knows what else there is waiting for us. So, where are you in the moment?
I'm in the moment in Paris, actually, now already since 2 months or something.
Ah, right. And before that?
Before this, I had still a little concert trip to Spain.
Mm-hmm.
And yes, but actually I'm kind of living here now since some time, and thanks to Corona, I had the pleasure of spending a lot of time here now. And
okay,
let's see.
So how is the Corona pandemic? How is it affecting you?
Yeah, I guess like most musicians, it changed the life in the sense that of course you're not playing any more concerts the way before, like for public. So sometimes you do streaming concerts, you do like new formats like you do now with the cello talk, or you start to get creative, and you have actually more time because now all this traveling time you used to spend in planes or trains is now like free for other things. And I try to set myself goals. So
to keep practicing.
To keep practicing, to keep in shape, and so that it's not a complete waste of time.
Yeah.
I don't know. How about you? What do you deal with it?
Yeah. So actually, I just got really lucky because first March last year, 2020, I signed my new contract as a principal cellist, as a solo cellist here in Stuttgart, in South Germany.
Oh, fantastic!
Philharmonic Orchestra, and 1st March I signed the contract, and then just
very good timing.
It was perfect timing. Actually, it was kind of. I felt already a little bit embarrassed because I was receiving all that payment. And my first project I was playing was actually in June. So
you started with the 3 months holidays.
Yeah,
that's like
3 months vacation, and it seems like it's still going on. Like just comparison. Of course now we recently we have now March. So in the beginning of March we start again playing now a concert, a live stream without audience, and the last time we played were in the middle of November. So
wow, what kind of feeling was it when you entered there, and like it's now your 4th project then as a solo cellist?
Yeah, not 4th project. No, there were some other projects. We also did a lot of chamber music projects. But of course it's not as many as normally, and just really lucky that in Germany still hope that you when you're an orchestra you will still get your payment, not like in America.
Yes,
I don't know if you heard of it.
It's not like the Met. Like
you're kind of good protected here in Germany, and even now, for you as a freelancer, so I probably you could receive like money from the government, right?
Yeah, I mean there were like some programs like something called the November Help, they called it. They would give a certain percentage of what you earned last year, basically, and so yeah, I mean in Germany, I think it's compared to other countries, it's still as you say, a kind of good protection.
Yeah.
Nonetheless, I think for the whole freelance musicians landscape, it's of course not easy, this whole pandemic,
right?
With like
it's a nightmare,
because I mean it's all those concerts are often postponed, but also some are like just completely cancelled. So that's of course it leads to weird situations that the summers are like now completely packed because everybody postpones his concerts to summer or like early autumn, and the rest is like for you a lot of free time without concerts. So basically you also of course have options what you can do without concerts. You can teach, you can do like recordings, and I mean that was in a way also nice because you probably will never have as much time ever again like now. So
right. And how so you talked already about it. You try to keep your shape, like keep going on practicing, and I find it really difficult. I have really to admit that like probably the last 2 months or 3 months, not the last week, I started really, or 2 weeks ago I really started practicing again, but before I think more than 1 or 2 months you could say I not really touched the cello so much. so
that's highly understandable. I mean, we musicians always need also some kind of goal or a concert or something where we know we need to be ready by this, but if you just know, okay, the next concert might be in 6 months, or it makes it much harder somehow.
Yeah. And what is like your last memory of a normal concert? Like when was this the last time? What was the concert? Do you remember?
The last normal concert.
Kind of normal.
Crazy. I never thought we would ever talk about something like this. But the last normal concert I remember was actually in Vaduz in Liechtenstein in end of November. They still had like concerts with people like kind of normal, and it felt nice, and then there were some festivals where it was like kind of, it was streamed, but there was still a kind of little audience, like at least the other musicians or like the technicians, or so some kind of audience. Actually also in Spain, there was also a kind of audience, very much reduced, but
and you also founded your own international music festival in Koblenz in 2014, right?
Yes.
So what was your motivation to do that?
Oh, I was like at a lot of nice festivals before that, like and then I think what was like really also kind of a festival where I thought I want to do something similar was like when I was in the Podium Festival in Esslingen. It was a friend of mine who was like the same age, also cellist Steven Water, who founded it. And I remember this first year, it was really nice. It was just we were a couple of friends and we played chamber music together, and it was a really very friendly, nice atmosphere. And I thought to do something also in my home city where I already knew some very cool, nice places to do stuff.
Yeah.
So it started out actually kind of as a really fun project, and it grew every year a bit. And it was also, of course, thanks to the help of like really a couple of people who helped me with all the things I had no clue before, you know. And it was a lot by chance, you know. The festival died actually nearly 3 times before it even started. You know, I had someone who told me, "Oh, I will fundraise you the money, no problem." And then he said, "Oh, I found a bank who will pay for everything." And then 3 months before the festival, he called me, said, "I'm sorry, the bank canceled. We don't have any money." And then I felt really terrible because I invited all these musicians, but and then to cancel 3 months before, I felt really not great about. And I went to the haircutter actually, and
to
then
to another bank or no?
No, to a haircutter to get my hair cut.
You went to get a haircut, yeah.
Yes, and then I spoke to my neighbor at the haircutter, and he was some kind of businessman. And yeah, we started speaking, and then I told him a bit about what I was wanting to do, and he said, "You know, we should have lunch together." And afterwards, he started basically the festival with me, and he does all the administration part and fundraising part, and
all the parts nobody likes to do.
Yeah, which are hard to do, and really,
especially if you're an artist and musician, you are more like. So now I can I can only speak to myself. So I'm not the best organized person. Like I'm good to talk people, and so on. Probably you are similar, right? So you need a team of people.
Yes, but actually, if you're already good to talk with people, that's already, I think, very. Especially in this kind of thing, if you are able to tell people why you want to organize concerts or love to create something, then actually it's really nice. A lot of them are willing to help, and that was really maybe one of the nicest experience in the festival. Again, to see to which degree people are really putting all their energy and enthusiasm to such a project. And it's now like a little team of people helping there. And it's really, really fantastic because everybody has a special talents, which I can do or you can do, but it's nice to put it all together, and then you can manage a nice thing. And
how did it affect now the Corona pandemic? And you could still do the festivals in summer, right?
Yes. So I mean, we kind of changed it to mostly open air spots, and so we still could do something like a bit more than 22 concerts. And we were very lucky I had a friend who were doing all these open air concerts for the Mecklenburg-Vorpommern Festival and was very experienced in this kind of requirements which are needed to do a good open air concert. So you need a good staging. You need also a little bit of amplification, but which doesn't sound artificial.
Yeah.
So he was really incredibly helpful with that, and he also did all the security concerts with the authorities, and which was a huge job to do, and so this was our big luck also, that the weather was so fantastic. This last summer we had all the time sun, and it was like I think we only had one time rain. It was like was kind of a lucky summer.
Oh yeah, awesome. That's like when you have now, because of Corona pandemic, an open air festival, then you pray every day, please.
Oh yes,
no rain today.
Oh yes, you pray all the time basically. So maybe the cello heaven is secure. But by the way, I just remember this. Do you know this terrible joke about this viola player going to heaven?
No.
And he's coming to the heaven's door. There's Petrus, and there's also a priest, and then Petrus says to the viola player, "Oh, you can directly go in." And the priest says, "What? I'm waiting here since 20 hours, and why do you let him in? I mean, I dedicated all my life to church, and you let this viola player go." And then the Petrus says, "Yeah, I mean, when you were doing your preaches in the church, everybody was falling asleep, but when this viola player who were doing his solo in the orchestra, everybody was praying." Anyway, I no more mean viola jokes. So yeah, actually you are praying all the time, because there's so many facts which can go wrong. The infection numbers might raise, or people were like luckily we really had a good position also in our area. In the summer there weren't so much infections with corona, so and also we had big spaces where people could really spread a lot, so we were able to really put on concerts which were like I would really say safe, and but it's still, I would say it was probably the most challenging edition we had so far.
I can just really imagine. So you planning already now for the next summer, for the coming summer?
Yes, I mean, I guess it will be probably similar to what we know from last year. So we also try to focus a bit on
praying,
open air,
good weather.
on praying. Yes, on praying that we have again a fantastic summer. And besides praying, we try to develop like some good security concerts with a lot of space for the people, and also like with shorter concerts, like not super long, and double portion, just like shorter program but twice a night. And in a way that's also something I don't know how you feel about it, this shorter corona concerts. In a way I have to say it's not, I felt them not too bad, like a bit smaller
Yeah.
Rap, yeah, it's
More small appetizer, not like 2 hours
yes,
sitting there.
like
Right.
it's like 1 hour of music. It can be also something to digest also. So
Yeah.
this shorter format is sometimes very nice too.
Yeah. So, what are your plans? I mean, it's really difficult, right, to plan anything in these times as a musician. But do you? So I know a lot of cellists who think now like just try to get into an orchestra or get in a professor, a teaching place, or anything, and because it's just crazy without not crazy. It's still you are the perfect
it's
example.
a crazy time, definitely. And of course, like it's also not clear how long this will go on. If it's, I think now with the vaccination, probably it will improve. There is, I think, a horizon. But of course, I can completely understand that freelancing for many people is now something which doesn't look too attractive, because you have like this insecurity with Corona, or like this pandemic, or who knows, there will be another pandemic. But in a way, it's always has been a higher risk of being like independent. And it's a blessing and
a curse.
A curse in the same time. So on the one side, which is wonderful, you have the freedom of developing your own projects. So you do whatever you like. And on the other hand, you don't have the security of knowing I will be still paid in 2051. So it's, I think, a question also of type. A bit. It's if you are not much into risk, then it's probably a good decision now to look for
something like to become a doctor.
That's also like some. I mean, I don't know if you read the statistics that apparently like a third of all musicians change professions or like something.
Yeah,
like that.
and I know some of them actually. Yeah, who just really, because you also have so much time to think, right? Like,
yes, yeah,
and then always the struggle with money and also the time, and so I think a lot of musicians who maybe already were not so sure, now they are really okay. I will
not
do
the
something
time
else.
to change. It's true. I also have some friends who were like thinking a lot or develop new talents, I don't know, on the stock market, or I don't know what.
Cryptocurrency.
But it's definitely, as you say, you have a lot of time to reflect, to think, and that's maybe sometimes a good thing.
So would you advise to what would be your advice to young aspiring cellists?
So I would say, if it's really your passion or really this thing you love doing, you should do it. And I think there will be always people who want to like to listen to music, and I'm pretty sure this will be also the case still in 30 years, when a lot of jobs might be taken over by robots. But I think we as musicians, we still might be safe. No, at
least 50 years.
Yes, at least 50 years. I mean, when I saw this Yamaha robot playing the violin, I thought, we are still okay. I mean, there will be no computers taking over yet our jobs. So I think really, if it's your passion, you should pursue it. if you're not 100% sure and think you could also imagine something else, then probably take something else, because it's not definitely the easy path to follow.
Yeah, especially with all the great cellists out there. It's like,
oh yes, it's a golden age for cellists, and but on the other hand, there's also never has been such a huge audience as nowadays. If you think about China and all the new super huge amounts of listeners, and sometimes, of course, if we look in our concert halls and we see this a bit more aged audience, you might be might think, okay,
what I'm doing here.
I
want the young girls. I want
yes, but I'm sure, Vasilis, to your concerts also the young girls are
always
coming.
They just like to dress as old women.
That's it, probably. That's it.
I think that's the issue.
But it's funny. I mean, it also changes from country to country. I mean, I remember like some countries, like I don't know, South America. There are like a lot of young people in the concert. On the other hand, when you probably go to I don't know, Baden-Baden or this kind of places, might be a bit different.
Yeah.
But however,
you don't see the big crisis now coming, because like could say, like, because of the pandemic, especially a lot of subscribers to concert, the abonnements, like so just here in Stuttgart we have like the issue that I think 30 or 40% of course canceled their subscription, because we are not playing so much concerts, and why then to pay the money, right? So, and in the beginning, of course, there was a lot of support, and they said like, no, we will still pay, but after 1 year now, no, and then who knows, because of the vacations, no, not Spritzen, how do you say
the vaccinations.
Vaccinations. At least in Germany, I think in summer we are, don't know how many percent we will, I think there's a long way still to go. So
that's true.
So, but
absolutely, you're right. People, in the beginning, there was a lot of support for the arts, but it's a very long way now since it started. So it's also understandable. The people have also their own problems. So not only the musicians who have problems. Right. And I completely agree with you that we might have a problem when the whole thing starts. If right away, I cannot imagine that the halls will be as full as before the crisis. It will be a long process. I think there are also a lot of people eager for live music also, but they already did studies asking people if they're willing to come back, or if they're scared to go to events once it's possible to go again. And there's about a third of the people who went to concerts before who say they probably won't come back right away, because they feel still not so safe. So we will have, in the beginning, it will start slowly, but in the end, I think a bigger amount will eventually come back. What worries me also a bit is, like, especially in Germany, we have such rich, or France also, rich cultural landscapes with a lot of orchestras, great orchestras, opera houses, and a lot of them are financed by the cities, by the regions, and they will be very badly affected by the crisis which comes in the next 2-3 years. Also, like all the debts they have to take now during Corona. So my worries is which you already can see now. I think there are already some cities who started, Bamberg, Munich, with cutting the subsidies for culture. And I think they won't rest alone. And this will be a really big challenge for us musicians to really make it clear why it should rest, why we should keep this opera houses, orchestras, festivals alive, and really, and don't be too silent about it. I think we really, I think need to work that we can keep this, heritage alive.
Right. So let's talk a little bit more about the past. But before that, so if you would again, like, what would you love to know when you were like 10 or let's say 12 years old, like you're practicing cello, everybody is telling you you are the Wunderkind and so on, and what is the thing you would love to know before you took all the long journey to become a really successful and professional cellist?
Well, that's a good question. I mean, there's so much you learn on the way, and once you learn it, you are wondering, what did I do before, right? In a way, it's sometimes you wonder what would you do when you would have this knowledge what you have now and you would be 11, right?
Sometimes I have this imagination. I don't know if you have this too. Sometimes I have this imagination with all with my knowledge. I want to be again 6 years old.
Oh,
and
yes.
Then and I just would with all that knowledge, but
yes,
it's something you cannot read in books or like.
Yes,
it's just but for example, what I never thought or was not so sure about, like, for me, my personal experience, like, I totally underestimated how much loneliness I will experience as a musician, because you practice always alone, sometimes of course with a pianist or ensemble, but most of the time you're practicing yourself. You are also always in charge, like it's your responsibility. You have to practice to be prepared. There's nobody there, and I just remember. So you went also to the Tchaikovsky competition. We met there, and I will never forget when you said to me before we had our first round. You told me, like we were both like in this mood, like saying to each other, don't know, we are crazy. Why we are doing this? like because it's only fun. It's only fun if you will reach the next round or you will get a prize. Otherwise it's because like we prepared like years for it, for the competition, and then you said the sentence, you read an article about a boxer. Who do you remember what you said? Like,
oh yes, I remember. Yes. I don't remember which boxer it was, but basically maybe it was Klitschko or something. And basically he said in this interview, after each competition, during each competition, I'm wondering, why am I doing this to myself? Why I torture myself so much? And then still after the competition, there pass some time, and then I do it again. And,
because
and
you're
so it's
forgetting
like,
it.
you forget what it means being in it during the time, and in a way also, of course, you, even if it's maybe not a great experience, you still take something out there, to a certain degree. And so you, in the end, you glorify a bit the experience it was. It in your head, it becomes better than it probably was for you in the situation. And that probably occurs to many circumstances in life. Our brain is a little cheater, and it likes to turn our past a bit more golden than it maybe was in fact. But it's definitely very interesting process becoming a professional musician, because, as you said, it's like, so it's in a way a lonely path, because you spend such amount of time alone, working so much to reach the highest level personal, and it's also you struggle against yourself. I mean, in discipline, and also basically when you're practicing, you're your own teacher, you're your own trainer. You somehow need to push yourself forward, and to be not too gentle with yourself as well.
But that's the issue. But you say, like, not to be. I'm also with myself. I'm not so gentle. I'm like, I get really fast angry at myself. Like when I'm not practicing, because I'm actually motivated. But then the pressure I'm putting on my shoulders, it's just too much, and the expectation I have to myself, and then I really had so many moments where I got really depressed, like really. It was really, especially like this preparation for Tchaikovsky competition. I don't know.
It's very tough. Yeah, I changed a bit in my approach. I try to be less negative about myself when I practice, and try to not kill myself.
With the pin for the cello pin.
Yeah,
always this is the end pin. You think like,
and but it's definitely a very challenging process, being as effective and productive in practicing without any self-hate or self-destruction. But I mean, it's great to have aims. In this sense, a competition can be good, or an important concert to bring yourself on a higher level. But emotionally, it's also really.
Yeah, because also normally as a musician, you're probably a little bit more sensible than other people in other jobs, because it's like what you do. You're like you need this sensibility of emotions.
Yes.
Otherwise, you're not really capable of
expressing them.
Expressing the music, and then it's if you go like into competition, then it's like sports, and then that's the other thing that I really would like your opinion about it. Like, what is a great cellist? Who is the best cellist? Like how to.
Yeah, that's a hard question. I don't know, because it's so personal and taste-wise. Of course, we can define like certain criteria in terms of technique, maybe, or like perfection.
Right.
This is like maybe more easy to define the clarity of sound, maybe the volume, but in terms of beauty, it already gets difficult, because I, for example, love Shafran, and I know many colleagues who I respect who hate Shafran. And so it's very much a question of taste, or also your culturally upbringing, what you might approve. So I don't know, it's very hard to define the world's best cellist. Right,
and it's also hard to like to explain, or to get somebody in a manual, like okay, you want to become a really famous cellist, okay, that's what you have to do. Like sometimes, like what I feel a lot, especially young cellists, when you're in this state, like competitions, and then even you see people winning the competitions, but still after 3-4 years the names are not appearing anymore, or it's like always. So it's like what I had all the last 10-15 years, always this dream and this of becoming more recognized and as a cellist, and you are you, Benedikt, you are a lot more farther at this journey, like you in Germany, at least, when not even in the world, you are
well, it's always a question of perspective. I mean, I don't know, it's probably like, or even your ma is probably like thinking the same like you do, and I don't know, maybe
Madonna is more famous.
Or it's like I think it's like kind of a musician, or like maybe a very human thing, like also Leonard Bernstein, when he was very already in his 70s, he was like saying in some interview, he was like giving to TV and said, I think I'm a really forgotten man. No one wants me anymore. And I mean, okay, I just did this concert with Vienna Phil, and still call him Phil, but besides that, more or less. So I think it's like really probably like a musician's
illness.
And I think maybe it's also good always. We need to strive always for
more. I
think it's more. Very human.
And then it is. So funny, but actually I'm just surprised for how much suffering, like I put so much suffering into it, just for goals where you then even think. So actually what I'm thinking, like I don't know, like if you like this really famous cellist stars, and you have your 200 concerts in the year, what kind of life is this, But
Yeah.
like, especially when we are younger, then we are so looking forward for it, because it's kind of natural, because that's like the biggest achievement somehow you can get is like having a bunch of concerts, traveling around the world, but just have a miserable life as a human being, because you're always lonely, you're not doing anything. So yeah, probably you have the same experience, like when I had a couple of concerts. When you're arriving in the city, normally you never have time for enjoying the city. Like, really rarely. Normally you have to practice, you have to focus, and so people think like, oh, you get so much around and you saw so much, but often you cannot really enjoy it. You cannot enjoy the journey. You can what I enjoy, and you too probably, is like playing the concerts, like playing the music, and then seeing that you give so much joy to the audience. But for what price, actually?
Yeah, that's a very interesting question, because it's like, as you say, it's like how you grow up. These are your idols, the big cello soloists, and you admire them, and you want to be like them and play great concerts with great musicians and travel all around. And I feel like for me, there has been also times like this where you travel and you play and play, and you don't get to so much experience outside the concert hall, because it's like more or less travel hotel concerts.
Right.
But I also try to change it a bit, that when it's possible to stay, I stay sometimes 1-2 days longer after the concert, because before the concert, I think it's normal. You're absolutely focused on the concert. But I mean, it's also possible, I think, if you to find somehow a healthy balance. And then it can be actually super much fun when you meet friends, make new friends there, you meet great musicians, you also have like some time outside the concert hall, seeing these amazing places where we often go to. And this is maybe an aspect which I thought was great. You have some adventures, definitely, when you go through all these concerts, and you experience things you would probably not experience if you wouldn't be a traveling musician. And you meet crazy people, you meet extraordinary people, and that's really one of the nice sides. And but of course, yeah, it's not everything as amazing as we expected to be when we wish for it. I still remember the first time I won some bigger first prize, and I came on stage and I heard my name and I was surprised. And then when I hold it in my hand, I still remember I was somehow feeling a bit disappointed, because it didn't feel as great as I expected before it to be incredible happy and so maybe sometimes we make a picture too glorious about achieving something, and once you achieve it, it doesn't it doesn't fulfill all expectations, maybe. But as you say, what is really super nice, this feeling in a concert when you really feel that you can give joy to the audience and create special moments, and you're a bit like a magician somehow, like you like really and that's really the great part. And this besides the, of course, music making, which is why we do it.
Yeah. So like, do you think about creating your own family? Is this the right way to say? No, you imagine to have children in the future, like
yes, I could imagine. Yes,
Right.
I mean, not yet right now, but I think
it's this time so many in the pandemic time. I think the birth rate was like.
Oh yes, actually, it's true. Like, probably it was the best time now to become a father or mother.
Yeah.
But yeah, who knows how long it goes on? Maybe there will be more
Yeah.
time for that. But no, I will. I can very much imagine, and of course, that probably changed also again perspective about traveling and
Yeah.
I don't know, how about you? You want to
I'm thinking about it, yes, but of course, like also not right now. Like, but who knows in 3, 4 years or 5? I don't know. But I just so for me it's kind of fascinating because I never had been. I think since 15 years, I never had been so long at the same place. So first because I had the job in orchestra now, and then of course of the pandemic, and I was surprised because I thought, oh, I will feel so, don't know.
you would miss it.
Yeah, I will miss it. I will get depressed, and because what I always experience was I had the concerts, and then there was like sometimes a month or sometimes only a couple of weeks where was nothing going on and no concerts. And in these times, I was not really capable of practicing. I was actually often not doing anything. I was just really, I don't know what to do, and so that's why I have always this connection with, oh no, when I go travel, then I'm active, and I'm doing something, and so that's why my head was so big, this connection to say like, yeah, so I love travel, I love playing concert, because if I do so, I always feel so great in comparison when I'm at home and of course not doing anything. But now I was 1 year, not all the time, but nearly all the time I was at home. But I had so many things to do and so many projects, so that I was not getting bored, and it was probably it's a little bit crazy to say, but 2020 probably was one of my best years since 15 years. I don't know. Because I didn't have this small periods where I was getting a little bit depressed. So yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's funny that you say that. I also felt actually 2020 was actually, despite all the situation, a very nice year, because we were always thinking we need to travel to, and it gives us so much pleasure. But actually, being at one place can be really, really nice too. And especially when this first lockdown started, I think everywhere was like this beautiful spring weather, and it was nice. And I think I never did as much sport as then, and you had really time. And it's also learning new skills. I first time in my life learned cooking, and yeah, no, it's a really good thing about it that we change our perspective to that we don't have to travel to be active and happy and somehow also legitimate because you are working and you're not lazy at home. That's and I don't know. Yeah, it's for me. It was also actually, of course, there were some phases where I was a bit down, but most of the time I actually felt good because I kind of created my own project as little as they may seem. I thought, okay, I'll to keep myself also some kind of goal. I started to do like every day one movement of Bach for the internet or something. So that gave me some kind of rhythm, because then you know, okay, by the end of the day you need to be able to play it in a proper way, and so little things like this gave a bit of like goal setting, but not too much. It was not stressful. You still had like a lot of time, and that was nice.
Are you will still live now the next years in Paris, or just now for the moment, or you don't know actually?
Well, I mean, it's hard to say. I mean, going to Paris was for me as surprising as it might be when I might not be anymore in Paris. So for now, I don't really know, but in any case, I'm working on my French.
Okay, and you can speak fluently.
Well, I mean, I can speak, let's say, but I still sometimes have to think a bit about vocabulary or stuff like that. But yeah, it's getting better. I mean.
Yeah. So there's one thing I really want to ask you, because I think I don't know another cellist who have so many anecdotes to tell, like so many funny stories. So is there a specific concert from your past that stuck in your memory?
Yeah, I mean, I have like some funny, not funny, tragic incidents in concerts. Probably you too. I don't know. Maybe my most tragic, funny moment was like when I was 17. I got from this bank a beautiful Guarneri cello, which is really a wonderful instrument, 350 years old and in perfect shape. And then there was a concert where the chief of the bank was sitting in the first row, and it was first time I would be presenting the instrument, and I was like super eager to show how much I love this cello and how much I love playing on it. So I was slightly over motivated. And and I played Shostakovich Sonata, and I was really, everything went kind of very well, and I was like, this is great. And so I came to this last bar in the Shostakovich Sonata, and on the second edition, it's this pizzicato, and you do this pizzicato, and somehow my energy level got out of control, and I pulled the string, but I pulled it much too vertical. With the finger, and I was like got kind of stuck with the finger, and the cello left my two legs, and it flew over the stage, and it landed like around, I don't know, 2 meters or 1.5 meters away from me with a huge noise, like,
oh God,
awful noise, like on stage. And everybody was frozen, shock. I could see this face of this banker who saw his millions flying through the air. And he was like, just like, and then I had to do this walk of shame to my cello.
And how was the cello?
I wanted really to die on stage in this moment, and I took the cello. And luckily, I have to say, Guarneri built extraordinary stable instruments as well. And the cello was like kind of like really not really damaged. I mean, there was a little scratch.
Yeah.
But still, I think it was not a great first impression for the bank. But I was very happy that I didn't destroy this cello. I was luckily able to keep it for a little bit longer.
How many years?
I think I kept it a couple of years longer.
Okay. And then they were like, oh no, now
they were like, I mean, I really explained to them later, that's not what I usually do, but
normally I do not doing this to my performance. I just sometimes.
It was a one-time thing. I mean, another time I had a similar thing with my bow. This was also very unfortunate. It started already. I played with a friend of mine, Anna Fedorova, as some Chopin Polonaise Briand, and I was sitting quite close to the piano, and it started okay, but then already a string broke. And
which string? The A string?
Yeah, A string broke, so I changed the string and we started again.
Okay.
And everything went kind of fine until the last note. And with the last note, I somehow put this bow too far to the right to the piano, and the bow left my hand and flew over the piano, and this pianist, like, I mean, Anna, I think she never catched anything in her life. I mean, you could throw an apple, she wouldn't catch. Yeah. But in this situation, she somehow, like, I saw her huge eyes at this bow, and she catched the bow right at the frog. And the audience went completely crazy because they thought it was some kind of circus effect we trained. But
and everybody was like, oh.
And everyone was like, whoa, okay.
Great.
But actually, it was like totally by chance that she catched it. That was like really super big luck, and and that was also a one-time thing, I have to say. I mean,
I remember as a child, when I was, I think 8 or 9 years old, I was doing a rehearsal with a cello quartet. We just rehearsed because we for a competition, for Jugendmusiziert, for the German small, for young people, for children. We were rehearsing, and I somehow was a little bit bored, and I was don't know, with my bow I was just in the air and then doing like this, and then I put a little bit too much force into it, and then I hit the ground with the bow, and as it broke totally, and I was like, Mama! And I was really. She was of course not lucky because still there. I think it was $600 or I don't know, $800 bow. Like, of course not because you're so young, but it was. Just because you with a bow.
It happens easily. Actually, those bows are kind of fragile on the top. It's really anyway, it's
Yeah, and I also
It's-
once remember that I was playing, and then for me it happened the same what you said. Like the bow, somehow the grip of my right hand was not good, and suddenly the bow just fell. So he was not flying, but he just fell at a like, just was grabbing it and was playing.
That's
Yeah.
also like and then you have to catch it. Emerson taught me once. He was like 15 years old, and he had I think one of his first concerts with orchestra, and he played Schumann concerto, and he lost his bow, and the bow flew to the other side of the conductor's place. So, and he felt like super embarrassed to like leave the chair and go there, catch the bow. But anyway, mostly audiences actually, I think, more relaxed than we are about it. Actually, they kind of have fun once something like that happens. But also sometimes you see funny things happening in the audience. I mean, normally, I don't know about you, I try to avoid to look to the audience, but still sometimes it happens that you catch some stuff. I remember that I once played the Dvorak concerto in Oslo, and that is most beautiful spot in second movement. The star. I saw this old lady in the audience who took out her teeth.
God.
And I was so fascinated I couldn't look away. I was like, so I kept playing, watching this lady, and she just turned it around and turned it back in.
Oh God! Yeah, it's funny. So of course, like as a classical musician, you have normally like 60 plus people in the audience, like really older people, and then sometimes when the people are older, sometimes they can act like children. I feel something like suddenly they say something, or I experienced once. I played the concert, and it was already the ending of the concert, and then I was playing I don't know, Zugabe, how you call it, like
encore pieces.
Yeah, additional pieces was not written down in the program, so and it was one piece of my own, like composition I composed by myself, and it's more like a jazz music piece. And in the middle of the piece, there's like a break, like with tension, where you're like, and then it goes on, and right in this middle of in this break, in the first row, an old lady saying quite loudly, saying like, "Now it's enough."
I also once had something like this with Bach.
Yeah.
I think I played in Kiel or something, and there was like, it was after an encore. It was also, I think, I played 2 pieces by Bach as an encore, and then people I thought were still clapping good. So then I said, oh yeah, now it's the third encore, I will play the third piece of the Bach, I don't know, the Jig. And then a man in the first row said very loudly and really with a desperate voice, "Oh nein! Oh no!" But then I said, "Oh no, shit! What can I do? I mean, I cannot go back now, and that's too embarrassing." So I still played it, but I thought maybe I should really finish after that.
Are you actually struggling with playing by heart, like without score? Do you have sometimes blackouts? Because I have this kind a lot, not a lot, but it's the fear I always have.
It's a normal fear, I think. Of course, I mean, there's like you probably know this story, like this famous story with Kreisler and Rachmaninoff in Carnegie Hall, and Kreisler always was like flirting with the women in the first rows, and got so distracted that he completely lost where he was, and he stopped playing. But Rachmaninoff continued like absolutely like this. Okay. And Kreisler was like really kind of in panic, and he turned to Rachmaninoff and were like whispering, where are we? And Rachmaninoff just kept playing, saying, Carnegie Hall, my friend.
Carnegie Hall.
So, I mean, I think it's it happens. I'm normally kind of okay with playing by heart. Where I felt like really that was a challenge for me. I did a couple of times last year, like the 6 Bach suites.
Oh. In a row.
In a row. Wow. And this, I have to say, this I felt like a real challenge for the memory, especially the 4th and the 5th suite. This Scordatura suite, because then you normally also rely on your ear, and then with the different Scordatura, it somehow, this I felt really that my brain got like really like old computer running hot.
Do you have perfect pitch?
On the cello, yes, but I guess not as you. I mean, you have like a perfect pitch, right?
No, I don't have. Not at all. No, I don't.
I don't.
No. because Scordatura, but when you play with Scordatura, so that means that the A string is lowered to the G string. When you do this, then you get more. Does it bother you a lot? Like can you have really to focus, or you get just used to it?
Somehow, when I play with score, it somehow doesn't bother me. I mean, you just do what's written, in a way. But somehow when I play by heart, it gets harder for me. Because also when I play by heart, somehow I have different layers of security. Of course, I know the music somehow, the structure, and also the fingering, the haptic memory.
Yeah.
And also like by ear, you know how it's supposed to sound, but then you have to do something else than you normally would do. Right. And this somehow makes it more difficult for me with the 5th suite to play it by heart.
Yeah.
On the other hand, you know, my old teacher also, he was always telling me the stories that Rostropovich, nearly every time he played one of the Bach suites, he would get lost, but he would improvise so amazingly that no one would notice. This somehow always really fascinated me. That what do you do in case it happens?
Right.
Because it's very much also how we deal with our fears, because if we are not frightened, it probably doesn't happen in the first place that we get lost, but because you're frightened, it might happen.
Yeah.
And if you have like a way of dealing with it in an easy way, for example, there was also this concert with Lars Vogt and in Berlin Philharmonic Hall, and he played Beethoven Concerto, and he took a wrong turn in the 3rd movement. But he took it in a really super cool way. He stopped playing and he told the audience, Entschuldigung, ich habe mich verspielt. Sorry, I played wrong. I played the wrong note, and you know, audience were laughing, and they took it in a really fun way. And then he went to the conductor. He looked, and they played it perfectly. Again, the last movement, I think everybody really loved it. I think no one went out and said, we somehow built ourselves this huge trauma and have nightmares.
Right, yeah.
What happens? I'm in Albert Hall and I forgot how it goes on.
Yeah. And it's fascinating, like when you have when I have a blackout, then I always remember the music. So it's not like that I don't remember the music. When I have blackout, then I don't remember what is the fingering, like what finger is coming next on which string, or maybe. And then I'm completely suddenly lost when I forgot one. Is this the same with you, or it's different for you?
I don't know. I mean, you somehow always go on somehow.
Yeah.
Maybe it's not as smooth as Rostropovich. But it's the problem is like the shock moment. And then actually I cannot even tell you what I did in the situation, because it's like some automatism what happens. And it's like when you fall, your body does something automatically. And in the back, you cannot, and when you reflect it backwards, you cannot even remember, okay, which leg or what finger did I do? It just happens. And mostly it happens in a way, I would say, that just someone who doesn't know who knows the piece well might realize. But it's strange enough, it also nearly never happened to me when I'm playing with someone, because then you always have the other person who continue and who will immediately remind you of what it will be. Maybe it's like 1 millisecond. But I once had a moment with an orchestra where I played Elgar Concerto. And there, in the first movement of the Elgar Concertos, this place where you accompany the orchestra. And somehow the winds entered 4 bars early. And somehow then you react and you somehow find it, of course, because you heard it many times. But you still have until the end the feeling, was it me? Or
was I wrong or them?
Yeah. Even it doesn't matter, but somehow like it bothers your head.
Yeah, right.
But yeah, in the end, in Kulmbach we had once masterclass with Maurizio Fuchs, and he said something I remember quite well. He said, we are not doctors. When we do a mistake, no one dies.
Right. But somehow we put the pressure on us, like
on
it
us,
would be like
yes.
this. Why? This is so
exactly. It's like we feel like when we play a note wrong, or we don't succeed to play it exactly the way we wanted, that we failed, or that someone died. And
right.
This is
that feeling, yeah.
Yeah, but it's, I think, like our early training. I mean, in a way, it's probably also a good thing that we always really try to achieve the best possible. But in the way, sometimes it also might block a bit the joy of making music, of being more free in what you do.
Right. Yeah, there are different cellists out there. I just recently met a cellist who never had any problems with having a blackout. He's just he even said to me, like, I'm just too lazy to get out the score of my back. That's why, he was also playing everything by heart, everything, because he's too lazy to get the score, like he's told me.
Well, that's definitely an advantage. I mean, because this happens, that one forgets the score, or like in case. So, I mean, I don't know how about you. I mean, I also try normally to memorize all pieces I play more or less, because it gives you kind of a feeling of being a bit very much into the piece, and you're not bothered to look super exactly in the score. So on stage, it also gives a feeling of freedom. So I think it definitely has advantages to play by heart, besides of that you don't have to bring the score. But in the end, it's very much a question of taste, of like personality, and I mean,
do you have to practice like to play something by heart, like, or does it happen automatically because you practice the piece so often that you don't have to put an extra effort into it?
Yeah, that depends, exactly as you say. When you practice a piece a lot, you normally know it by heart. Maybe you do 2-3 security runs, and but normally you learn it by doing it. There are other pieces which you might not practice so much, but when you need to play them by heart, you might need to invest a little time of looking at the structure of, and then you try it a bit. So
yeah, it seems like it's already easier for you than for me, because it doesn't matter how often I play a piece, I really have to put in, like, I have to say now, okay, now I'm practicing by playing by heart. So I really have to go through the piece and put the effort into it to memorize
to
it.
like get I mean, the thing is it's sometimes it's active work to memorize, but it's also work which you can do nearly everywhere. I mean, you can sit in a train and you look at the score and you just memorize it, or you don't even, you just do it in your head while jogging. I mean, that's also always, I feel, a good method to see if when you can play through it in your head,
right,
and you don't get stuck, then you also
you're secured. It's actually, I find, also the best method to find out if you're safe. What I even do often, I do it with metronome, because then sometimes you can cheat, because then you take a little bit more time to think what coming next. But when you with the metronome, then you're really forced, and when you can play mentally without a score through the whole piece with the metronome, then you're really safe.
And you're safe, absolutely. But that's a very interesting subject you bring up there with the metronome, because it also is a very interesting thing to play just in your head, because normally you play faster in your head than you play when you're playing the instrument. And that's also a process in composing, I think, because often you realize that the tempo marks of some composers, or especially when you work with contemporary composers, they are often in the end faster than when you play the music. And or they tell you, oh, not so fast, and then you say, but that's so. I think that's the thing, we think faster than when it's like physically done with an instrument. And that was also, we had once a workshop with little masterclass with Bambam, and as someone also asked him about this subject about metronome marks, and he was telling the story that when he worked with Boulez, he was trying to do exactly on millimeter exactly the numbers Boulez were putting in, and then Boulez came saying, "What are you doing? That's not working." So that's, I think, a very like also something what one can take into account when like looking at metronome numbers. It's like how they imagine it, but it's not how they might want it to sound.
Yeah. Benedict, is there another topic you like to talk about? something missing.
Something missing.
Maybe you want to share, or some story or something I didn't ask. Just
you were an amazing interviewer. I mean, you were very careful of putting in many different subjects. So
I tried.
I have again like this musician's how do I say, policeman in my head. I feel oh God, I need to practice.
You feel it's still the pressure during the interview. I felt like the pressure. Oh no, I have to practice. We have to stop the interview.
It's awful.
Wow.
I don't know whoever manipulated me, but it's like always. There's always this little policeman.
Policeman, yeah.
The policeman, who says, you should practice.
You should practice. Yeah, I know that this too. And then that's the issue. And I'm not practicing at all. I'm just watching YouTube videos or anything to shut up that voice. But then the voice gets louder, and I get more depressed, and I have to watch more YouTube videos to get to forget about it. Don't know if you experience something.
I should try this YouTube technique.
Better not, because then you're not practicing at all. So, how long is the voice? How long do you need the voice? Like, you will then automatically already start to practice the cello.
How long it needs to convince me to start practicing?
Right.
It depends on the day. Sometimes I manage as you to calm them down and say it's okay. The next concert is in 2025. It's fine. But sometimes, it gives a weird feeling of guilt.
Right.
So
probably our mothers or fathers, they got it from them.
Also,
somehow.
when I didn't play for some days, I feel like I get like a bit, probably like an alcoholic who wants to play. I don't know. It's like, normally, I did some really fun holidays without cello.
Yeah.
And I loved it for 1 or 2 weeks, but then I really feel I would like to play even for fun just a bit.
Yeah.
But I don't know what it is, but it's like probably like you get it in childhood in the head, or I don't know.
It's fascinating that you. So I have something similar, but. I'm just really good into it, not to listen to it. I'm like
you will do a masterclass about it. How to
to listen. Oh, it's really easy. You just have to distract yourself with everything. Something. Now, for me, it's like a funny story because I really love to play the piano, and when I'm like not so motivated to practice, then. And there's a piano in the room, I will just play 4 hours piano and practice cello.
Oh, that's cool. You improvise. You improvise some jazz.
Yeah, and that's the funny story how I developed some skills on the piano and composing stuff also, because on the piano I'm always never play something by score. It's always like I'm just in the mood and I want to express my mood, and then I play the notes to that. I'm just. Yeah, and with the cello it's different. It's like I have to practice it. I have to play the score, and that's often for me felt like something I have to do. And with the piano,
it's more like, serious, kind of work. And there you're just like a free musician. And actually, do you also improvise on the cello? Because that's something I love doing. I would never do it on stage, but I really enjoy doing it.
Yeah, you just have to do it. Just start doing it. Just play some notes. Doesn't matter. I think.
Yeah, it's really nice. I don't improvise jazz. I don't know even which style it is.
You can improvise in every style.
But it really feels very. I love doing it. It's just really. It's like kind of.
Yeah, it's something I see like especially we as classical musicians should do more of it. It can free up a little bit this this perfectionism we have.
It's a good medicine.
Yeah.
Can understand. Anyway, so it was very, very nice to talk to you, Vasilis, and I'm waiting for your 10-step journey on how to calm down the practice policeman.
Okay, if you will be the first person who will buy it, then I will do it. So thank you very much, Benedikt, for being here with me today. It was a great pleasure to talk to you. To listen to you. You had great stories to share with us, and thank you very much.
My pleasure, Vasily.
This was the Warner Cello podcast. This video podcast is also available as an audio podcast on all the usual podcast and music platforms. There you will also find the Cello Real Talk podcast, the only podcast that will tell you the true story of becoming and being a professional musician and gives you honest insight into the musician's world. Make sure to tune in to weekly episodes. Thanks for watching.